Hi there, it's Nicole here today for SugarPea Designs, and I have got this card featuring the large striped cover plate background from SugarPea and then the darling chunky monkey stamps and dies. Everything I've used here is from SugarPea, including that hello die, and it's just a fantastic base for almost any card design. I did die cut the large striped cover plate from smooth white cardstock, and I just temporarily adhered all those little inserts to my kind of the frame design using some post-it tape. And then I'm going to ink this up with Lucky Clover Distress Oxide ink. Darker down at the bottom, I'm going to actually have the oval at the bottom of this card design. You can flip it any way you want to, and then have it lighter up near the top. This is kind of, the color was very much based on what images I was using. I spritzed this with water from a distress sprayer, and then I'm going to blot this dry. The reason I temporarily adhered those stripes or those little insert pieces to my frame or the cover plate design is I want to use all of the pieces. I went ahead and die cut 2 additional frames, and I'm going to adhere those directly to my top fold card base, and then I'm going to inlay all of the little stripes and finish the frames with the inked frame on top. This gives a seamless look of the inked background, but it still gives that awesome raised design to the frame itself. This is one of my favorite tricks for having that seamless look, but still adding a ton of interest so it's not completely flat. I love that. I love that the distress sprayer blotches all over the background are seamless, yet some of them are flat to the card and some of them are on that cover plate. Now the frame itself, or that cover plate, is very thin. I used 1/8 inch score tape around the edges to attach this to my card base, and that really worked the best. In fact, I kind of tore the top of this here trying to line it up. What I ended up doing later was just taking a little dab of liquid multi-matte medium Ranger glue and putting that under that top edge, but after I attached the monkeys to my card. So I did put some adhesive on the card base itself, so really all I have to do for my inlay pieces is pop those down in place. Because I still have the post-it tape on the back of my striped cover plate, all I have to do is pop them out one at a time and put them in place. This really helps too because of the ombre effect of the inked background. I'm able to put them exactly where they go. There's no guesswork involved. I don't get anything out of order. So we'll just add all of these here. Now before I add the front of my design, I will need to ink this up with my greeting. I think it's better to stamp this before we attach it to the card, and we'll do that in a little bit. I want to give my background a little bit more time to air dry before I try to stamp and emboss. We're going to move on to coloring in these adorable little monkeys from the Chunky Monkey stamp set. I absolutely adore these little guys. They are so cute. The SugarPea critters of any kind are just absolutely darling. I couldn't pick just one, so we're going to actually use 3 on the card today. I'm only going to share coloring of one of the monkeys, as all 3 are exactly the same. This little guy is going to be the focal point of the card design, but the other 2 are going to be peeking in from underneath the striped cover plate. I'm using my favorite color combination for critters. This is E40, 43, 44, and 47. Anytime I need to do a brown type of color combination, this is almost always my go-to. I really like these colors. He's holding a little banana in his hand, which we'll get to in a little bit. I added R00 to the insides of his ears. I added that to his cheeks. I love that he's winking. I used a darker brown marker to color in his nose, E47, but he's just so, so cute. Another great thing about this stamp set is depending on what kind of occasion you need a card for, these will work for so many different things just by simply mixing and matching what greeting you're using. I added the hello, I miss hanging out with you on the front, but this is a birthday card that I'm sending to someone who lives far away and I don't get to see all that often. So I added the birthday sentiment on the inside. If you don't need a birthday card, you could add anything to the inside of the card. It does not have to be birthday themed, which I absolutely love. Makes the design much more versatile. For my first monkey, I really had to work a little bit harder at getting a smooth blend. Oftentimes, the first image I color takes a little bit more work. With my darker markers, I think this is the E44, I'm going to add a little dot detail to some of the brown areas on the monkey. Adds a little bit of texture. It's not over the top, but it just adds a nice little touch. We're going to move on to the branch that the monkey is going to be hanging from, rather. And I'm coloring this with E55 and E57. This is a favorite color combination if I have to do trees or things like that. I use this color combination a lot. And I purposely picked a color combination for the leaves on this branch that complement the Lucky Clover background. And if you've seen any of my videos lately, you've probably seen me use this color combination a lot. For whatever reason, I'm very drawn to it this spring, and that is G00, 02, and 17. Instead of contrasting or really not looking good with that Lucky Clover background, which I also very much love, this really complements it. I think it coordinates beautifully. It's a really kind of unexpected fun color scheme that I've really been loving. I used to always go for the yellow greens, which I still use depending on what color of background I've got going on. But I think with the Lucky Clover background, if you love that Lucky Clover background as well, this is a fantastic color combination to use that complements it really nicely. Once I have this colored in, we'll color in the banana with some yellow reds, and then I'll color in the other two monkeys off camera since they are exactly like the first one I colored. I really love yellow reds. It just means it has a little bit of a red undertone. These are still very, very yellow, but they have more of that kind of orange touch to them, I guess I want to say. I used the YR24 very sparingly. We didn't want to add too much orange to that. Once they're colored, I'm going to die cut them with the coordinating dies, and then I want to figure out exactly where I need my greeting to go. So I want to leave enough room for that on that oval shape. I don't want to attach my monkey quite yet. I did go ahead and go in and add black gel accents to the one eye that's open on this monkey, and then I'm taking a white pen and adding some little highlights and things like that to really make him pop. Also, don't want to forget to do the branch, so we'll add that to the leaves. I basically just followed the line of the leaves with my white pen right next to it, and then added some detail to the branch itself. I'm going to take my Misty and take that cover, go ahead and ink up my greeting. I used a powder tool to help hold the embossing powder directly onto the Versamark and not onto anything else. Sprinkle on that white embossing powder. I really love how the white looks on this green background. And I think the white complements this particular design better than maybe a black ink would. It coordinates a little bit better and isn't so in your face. It really goes with the whole design. We'll heat set that, add some 1/8 inch score tape around the edges of the cover plate design. I just used another adhesive behind that oval to help hold it flat. Again, you can see that with such a thin border, the 1/8 inch score tape works so well. I even added it to a couple of the other stripes here. I really want this to stay put. I'm going to peel off all of this backing paper, line it up exactly with the cover plates die cuts that I've already adhered to my card. And then we can start adding all of the fun little monkeys and finish with a die cut greeting. And this really gives a good example of the dimension that popping this up with just a couple of additional layers gives this whole design. I'm going to take a little liquid adhesive, apply this to the back of my branch, and I want to make sure that I adhere this so that it's not covering up any of the sentiment. Same with the monkey. I want it right next to the sentiment, but not actually covering up. And I also want him to look like his little tail's hanging over that branch. Get it all lined up perfectly before I press it down really good in place. I did die cut this hello greeting from SugarPea from some glitter cardstock attached to fun foam with stick-it adhesive. This is something I do a lot. The green I really felt complemented, again, the color of the background and the rest of the design. And I like that little touch of glitter here. I'm popping out any of the inside pieces from the hello with my Spellbinders Tool-in-One. And then I want to attach this right above that oval shape on the background. And I need to kind of, it's not lined up very well. I need to fix that just a little bit. The one L is over to the side. I tucked my monkeys underneath the edges of the background. Where it wasn't attached on the very, very back, I'm able to slip those underneath those two corners. And I'm gluing them down in place and then just kind of using a little dab of liquid glue to hold that frame down and putting something heavy on top to keep that in place until the glue is completely dry. We want to go ahead and add some detail to the eyes on the monkeys with a black gel pen. I also added white pen detail to them. And we're going to finish with a scattering of Nouveau crystal drops in Simply White, Woodland Green, and Key Lime. Simply White and Woodland Green are both opaque colors. Key Lime is a translucent green color that will kind of pick up some of the color of the background. I wanted to have several colors here, and I think this just kind of adds to that jungle kind of theme here that I have with this card. I love that you can create these in any size drop that you need for your project. You want to make sure and let these Nouveau crystal drops dry somewhere flat for a good 24 hours so that they're completely set. The last thing I'm going to do is on the inside of the card, I'm going to take a birthday themed greeting. As I mentioned earlier, this is a birthday themed card to someone who lives far away. I'm going to take a black ink, stamp this greeting from the Chunky Monkey stamp set right inside. And then I can simply make sure that's all the way dry, and there is my finished card. Thanks for joining me today for this card using the large striped cover plate and Chunky Monkey stamps and dies from SugarPea. The supplies I used to create my card are listed and linked below the video here on YouTube. Here are a couple more cards featuring cute little critters that you might be interested in. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.